In this tutorial, I'll show how we can use ThingLink to create a floor plan. And this is a interactive 360 tour, which can be embedded into websites, social media, and of course to your Canvas or any other learning management system. When we create this, it's going to be more basic than this. The reason why is because of time. This is a 360 image of the XR lab at Bellevue College. And Bellevue College is located in Bellevue in the Seattle area of Washington State. I've uploaded the image as I mentioned, and then I added hotspots here with interactions to the various rooms. Here's an example of a quiz or a question prompt. If you click on that, then you can't enter this next room, Studio Q, unless you get this right. So the question is asking if users will need to schedule Studio Q 24 hours in advance. And that's a true or a false or a yes or a no. I'm going to say yes, which is the correct answer. People need to schedule it at least 24 hours in advance. And I got that correct, so now I can go inside the room. And I go back, and here I can go to the next room. This is the main library area. A nice feature of the floor plan in ThingLink is that we have the floor plan up in the upper right hand corner. So let me click on that, and we see that we have the whole map here of the XR lab at the college. Now I can hop around a bit more to each room. And here we are in a main room. It's a little cluttered. That's Bruce Wolcott. He's using actually, this picture is probably about over 5 years old now, because he's using an older headset, a Vive headset, or a MetaQuest 1. And here we are back in the lobby, and we're back home. Let's see how this was created. I'm back in the media area of my ThingLink account, and notice that it's going to be cluttered in here because I cannot create folder structures within a free account. You'll see that there's a folder icon up here to create a folder. If I click on that, it really prompts me to learn more and upgrade. All right, let's go ahead and create a scene, and we'll add a floor plan to the scene so we can have a tour. So I select create, the blue button in the right hand corner. I have some options. We'll have 360 video. Note you can't really use 360 video with the free account. Even with the paid account, you need a upper tier account to really share that. You can upload regular video, I'll say flat screen video, and regular image, and you can have 360 images. 360 images you can share even with a free account, at least for the first 2 weeks of your free account. You can upload 3D models, and that's something relatively new with ThingLink. I don't know which formats it takes exactly, except for I do know that it takes the GLB, and I don't know what else in addition to that, but I've been using GLB files. So I'm going to upload an image to start with, and the image is one that I made in Canva, and I designed a floor plan. And it takes very quickly to upload, only 30 seconds or so. Now here, there's some settings. I'm not going to go into detail on the settings at this time. I'll come back to that. We can add an icon, a button, or hotspot. And in the hotspot, we have these options to add text and media, just a text label. We can embed videos. We can make a transition to another scene, which that's what we're going to do here in a second. And we can have polls and questions. The question can be very useful, as you saw with my previous example with Studio Q. And then the polls are great because if you want to give, you can actually embed this, as I mentioned, to Canvas, but you can also embed ThingLink to PowerPoint. So you could have your students viewing this from their different browsers, different computers. They could take the poll, and then it will represent the result of the class in real time. That's nice. The text and media is useful. I'll just show this quickly, that you can change the layout. So I could upload an image, and then you can have a header text and paragraph text, and you could also have buttons and links. So you could bring up the hotspot could bring up this window, and then you have text describing your object or what have you, and you could also have a link that goes out to more information. That's really nice. But what I'm going to do is I want to add a tag and I want to have a transition. And so for that transition, I'll select a scene I'll go to, and I'll add some text here. But you know what? I forgot that I'm going to finish this up. I'm going to go back to the file folder. And the reason why is I want to upload another image because I want to do this from scratch. So this is going to be the one I just uploaded, and so I don't get confused in this free account, I'm going to rename this. And so I click on the three, let me go back to that. I click on the three dots here. I select rename, and I'm just going to put a 2 in front of this. So that way we know that that's the new uploaded version. And then I'll create again. And now I'm going to upload a 360 image. I select upload from device, and I have my folder with my XR Lab tour. This does give me a preview, thankfully, because I don't have the naming convention as good as I should on this, but that's all right. We're just starting. I will do this. So I'll do the lobby again. And that'll take about 30 seconds to upload. And then it comes back here. I'm going to go ahead and add a hot tag. And the hot tag will be to the main room. I call it a hot tag, a hotspot. And I'm just going to have this be text and media. So I'll call this, the room number is D126P. This is the main room where we host events. And that's all I need right now. I'll also add a hotspot here that will take me to a transition. And here I will go ahead and just use a pre-existing one because of time. And I'll call this main library. And that will take me to the main library at Bellevue College. All right, I'm going to select done. Right, cool. I'm going to go back. Let me actually rename this one because you see I have 2 of these. So I'm going to rename this so I don't get too confused. I got to put a 2 in front of here. Right. Okay, so I'm going to go back to the floor plan. This is that flat image that I uploaded. Now I'm going to edit this. I'm just going to add a hotspot here, and I want to make a hotspot that goes to that lobby. I'll add a tag. I'm going to make a transition. Now what I'm going to do is add the floor plan. So it's going to appear in the upper right-hand corner. So I select the video, not videos, but the 360 images where it's going to appear. And I'm going to select edit. I go to edit, settings, floor plan. Actually, I just remembered. It's going to ask for the scene ID. So I need to go grab that. That's confusing. I had no idea what they're talking about with the scene ID for a while. I'll show you. Let's go back here to floor plan. And the scene ID is actually this URL right here. It's the last part of the URL with the numbers. So I select that and I'm going to copy 20407 and then so on. It's a unique URL. So your image that you want to have as a floor plan would be different than that, this one. Okay, so I've copied that. I go back. I'm going back. Now I go to edit. And I go to settings. And I go to floor plan. And now I drop that in here. And this should work. And it appears. You see that? Now, if it doesn't appear, it may be because the floor plan has to link to your 360 image. So you see that I have that link here to this room. So it works. One last thing before I wrap it up here is what happens if you want to start it where we're looking at the comic books, or maybe you want to start it where we're looking in this direction. So I can do that by selecting Edit, and then Settings, and then it's under Advanced. So I'm just going to scroll down to Advanced, and it's really as simple as just setting this and I select Done, and there we go. So now I can share this, or I can preview on devices. All right, let me get the floor plan, and that is so elegant. Very, very nice. Lots of fun.